With Daniel Jones out for the season, Tyrod Taylor on injured reserve, the Giants only had 2 healthy quarterbacks. That being Tommy DeVito and Matt Barkley. But you know what? They are going to add another one. The New York Football Giants are signing veteran quarterback Jacob Eason to their practice squad. In today's video, we're going to let you guys know everything you need to know about Jacob Eason. And at the end of the video, I got to address what somebody commented on one of our videos. We're going to break that down at the end of the show. But this is why you subscribe to the channel, because when the Giants make a move, we are going to make a video. Doesn't matter what the record is, doesn't matter what time of day or where we are at, we're going to keep you guys up to date on everything Big Blue. So subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate it. Help us get to 39,000 subs. All right, you might be asking, Marsh, who the hell is Jacob Eason? Well, I'm going to do my best job to explain to all of the real ones out there who Mr. Eason is. Obviously, with Daniel Jones out and DeVito and Matt Barkley, the only healthy quarterbacks on this team, the Giants could not roll through the remainder 8 games of the season with just 2 quarterbacks. He was a 4th-round pick in the 2020 NFL draft by the Indianapolis Colts, and he spent time with a couple of teams in the NFL, the Panthers, Niners, Seahawks, and Colts. It's been an up-and-down career for Jacob Eason. He has been involved in the transaction wire a lot of times. In September 2020, he was activated by the Colts. October 2021, he was waived by the Colts. He was once again waived later in October. Then he was waived in August of 2022 by the Seahawks. Then he was signed by the Panthers in August of 2022. Then he was elevated from the practice squad. Then he was assigned to the practice squad. Then elevated to the practice squad. Then assigned to the practice squad. Then the San Francisco 49ers signed Jacob Eason on November 15th of 2022. Then they waived Jacob Eason in January of 2023. Then the Panthers signed him in January 2023, and then he was released by the Panthers in May of 2023. And now he is a member of the New York Giants practice squad. You might say, Marshall, how much has he done in the National Football League? Not much. He's thrown 10 passes in the NFL, 5 of them complete, 2 complete to the other team. He's thrown 2 interceptions and just 84 yards. He was not in the NFL prior to the Giants signing him to the practice squad. So now you get a look at what this Giants quarterback depth chart looks like. And man, oh man, is this rough. You have Tommy DeVito, who's going to be your starting quarterback this Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys. You got Matt Barkley, who's going to be elevated from the practice squad, and Jacob Eason, TBD, if he will be elevated from the practice squad. Yes, Tyrod Taylor is still on this football team, but he's on IR, and he's going to miss the remainder, at minimum, 3 more games. And obviously, Daniel Jones is not going to play again. I don't mean to be mean to Tommy DeVito. I don't mean to be mean to Matt Barkley or Jacob Eason. But this is the worst quarterback room in NFL history, and I don't necessarily think it is all that true. How do I know that? 1, because their starter is a UDFA. 2, their backup was not in the NFL last week, and the backup to the backup was not in the NFL yesterday. This is the worst quarterback room in the NFL. But you know what? If Jacob Eason suits up for the Giants on Sunday or a Sunday this year, I am going to be rooting my heart out for him. So I just want all of the real ones, because that's who's only watching these videos at this point anymore. It's easy to give up on the Giants, and a lot of people have done so. I want all the real ones to welcome Jason Eason to the squad. Can we just get his initials, J-E, in the chat? Not sure what number he's going to wear yet, but can we get some love to Jacob Eason? Type those J-Es in the comment section. Coming up next, we've got a scouting profile on Jacob Eason. We're going to have some look at some college stats. We're going to bring Patrick Seatman on air. He watched a lot of Georgia and Washington football past couple of years. He'll be able to keep you up to date and let you know exactly who Jacob Eason is. But first, I got to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, Prize Picks. It's the #1 way to play daily fantasy. It's daily fantasy made easy. All you do is pick 2+ players. You choose more or less on their projected stat line. It's prizepicks.com/CLNS. And just remember to use that promo code CLNS, and they're going to match your first deposit up to $100. I'm just going to roll with a 2-player lineup for this Sunday. I think the Baltimore Ravens are one of the best teams in the National Football League, and they're going to beat the Cleveland Browns this weekend. I think Action Jackson, Lamar Jackson, has 2 total touchdowns. So I'm going to go more on passing, rushing, and receiving touchdowns at 1.5. And I also think Jonathan Taylor is going to get in the end zone this weekend against the New England Patriots as they are playing across the pond. So you can roll with my picks fade my picks, or just make picks of your own. But if you're going to play daily fantasy, do it with the best in the game. That's Prize Picks, prizepicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS. Right before the New York Giants signed Jacob Eason, the Los Angeles Rams signed Carson Wentz. And while I don't think Carson Wentz would have saved the season, I do know this. Carson Wentz would have absolutely gave the Giants the best chance of any quarterback that is not on a football team right now to win games. They didn't sign him. They let another team sign him. And you know what that tells me? The New York Giants are not trying to win football games. I think that they have got the word from John Mara that, you know what, we don't have to try to win games anymore. Not saying lose games on purpose, but we don't have to put our best foot forward to try to win games. Because if they did, they would have signed Carson Wentz and not Jacob Eason. I just can't believe this is real. How do you go from being a Final 8 team in the National Football League last year, winning a playoff game on the road, to this? Man, it has been a rough 11 months since the Giants won that playoff game. To quote Odell Beckham, I'm not having fun anymore. You take a look at Jacob Eason and some of his college stats. Started at Georgia, true freshman, and then transferred to Washington. I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't complete 60% of your passes in college football, that's usually a bad thing. Has a whole lot of yards, played in 29 games, 39 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. But he is a guy that was the #1 pro-style quarterback in 2016 coming out of high school, was a 5-star recruit. And Patrick Seatman, he was the Gatorade High School Player of the Year in 2016.
Yeah, so he was off to actually a great start of his college career. He beat out a senior his freshman year at Georgia, but then his first game of his sophomore campaign, he actually tore his ACL. And then Jake Fromm, Giants legend.
Giants legend. It all comes back to Jake Fromm.
It all comes back. He actually ended up stepping in for him. They ended up winning a national championship that year. But, hey, man, this is his draft day measurables, Marsh. 6'6", 230.
Prototypical size.
Dude, that's a big-time quarterback. The Wonderlic, we even got that here. Another reason why you guys subscribe. One of their channels is giving you guys the Wonderlic score at 23. But
for Jacob Eason, no one's doing what we do.
Nobody else is doing that. But the vertical jump, couldn't really be a good basketball player. Only at 27 and a half. But
he'd be a guy that plays below the rim.
Below the rim. He would be a back-to-the-basket big if he was hooping. But
4'8", though, for a 6'6", 230 guy, that's kind of moving.
He's got some potential. I mean, everything we were looking up before this, it was like he has a big-time arm. He can make almost every throw. So, I don't know. It seems like people are a lot more optimistic about him than
You're a fan of him, though.
I'm a fan of him. I think this is going to be a fun start for the Giants. He will be more entertaining than Tommy DeVito, 100%.
Who starts more games for the Giants this year? Tommy DeVito, Matt Barkley, or Jacob Eason? DeVito has 0 starts.
I'm going to say this. What if this is his Josh Allen? 6'6", big arm. I don't know, Mark.
That's what they told me about Daniel Jones.
What if Jacob Eason is better than
What if Jacob Eason is the guy? How about you pick a guy? Pick a quarterback for me down in the comments section. Who do you want to be the Giants starting quarterback? Type T for touchdown Tommy DeVito, M for Matt Barkley, or J for Jacob Eason. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Before we bounce on out of here, we got to talk about something. I kind of went on a little bit of a rant in the post-game show against the Las Vegas Raiders where the Giants lost. I was upset. And you know what? I feel bad. I should not have attacked Tommy DeVito the way that I did. You know what? I'm not even mad at Tommy DeVito. He's lucky to be in this position, and I applaud him for the effort that he has made. This is a guy that's an undrafted quarterback, wasn't on the active roster to start the season, and we're having to watch him play football. So I took my anger out on Tommy DeVito. But I want to make sure everyone's clear. I'm talking to you, John Mara. This is unacceptable for the way that you have this football team looking once again after you were just in the playoffs last year. But I want to play the video of where I said maybe not some nice things about Tommy DeVito, and someone followed it up with a comment that I absolutely have to address because I think sometimes you guys think I don't read the comments, but I always do. This was the video where I was not so nice to touchdown Tommy. You cannot trot out Tommy DeVito for 8 more games at quarterback. I don't give a fuck that he went to Don Bosco Prep. I don't give a fuck that he grew up in New Jersey. I don't give a fuck that he's going to own an Italian frickin' sub shop in 3 years and gabagoo. I don't give a fuck. He sucks. He is legitimately the worst quarterback in the National Football League. He is awful. The fact that John Mara is making us Giants fans watch this makes me not want to wear this shit anymore. I don't want to support this team. They're a fucking joke. So following that video, someone commented and said it was PSN LLC 4116. So I want to address what they said, and I'll read their comment. Your remarks at the 9:20 mark were both unprofessional and unacceptable. It is important to recognize that statistics can be presented in misleading ways, and given the use of offensive language and prejudiced comments in your speech, there is a reason to question your credibility and intentions. Moreover, your personal attacks are unwarranted and do not contribute to a constructive conversation. The average points per game you mentioned needs to be put into context. DeVito has only played recently, and before his inclusion, the team was averaging around 11 points per game. Therefore, attributing the low average solely to him is inaccurate and misleading. Never did that, though. Last week's loss cannot be solely attributed to him, as is widely acknowledged the coach blew that game. His performance today, with 15 completions on 20 attempts, despite the interceptions, which fall on the receivers, not DeVito, are impressive stats for a rookie. DeVito managed to throw for a touchdown, even on a broken play, which speaks to his potential. While he may not be a starting player yet, there's no certainty he will become one. He has shown that he is a competent player who contributes to the team, who just happens to be really bad team all around. The team struggled beyond belief all year and long before DeVito got playing time. Your comments, which were both racially charged and demeaning, are grounds for serious repercussions. Such a lack of professionalism and discernment should not present in someone who is put in a position of addressing the public. You should resign immediately, sir. So to PSN LLC 4116. All I got to say is I don't give a fuck what you have to say about that. We'll see.